Over the years, the project to clean up Hanford's site has faced numerous roadblocks. Tom Carpenter, Executive Director of Hanford Challenge, Keith Klein, former DOE manager, and John Price, manager at Washington State Ecology, discuss some of the dynamics that make managing Hanford's cleanup very complex and difficult.
Yeah, Hanford cleanup is really expensive and is projected to be very expensive and take a long time. Congress our congressional staffers remind me of that all the time, and they're worried about Congress getting tired of funding this. And we have a Senator, Patty Murray, who's very good at getting money for the Hanford cleanup. We have a Congress that is paying attention, but what happens when she retires, right? And people worry about that kind of thing. And where is the will in the nation to assure that the funds will be there in the future? I think that's really the primary concern.
There is lots of money involved, and whenever there's lots of money, there's just lots of issues and other things that come into play. The department does these activities, these sites through contracts, big contracts, multi-billion-dollar contracts, and with big incentives for getting things done. Their fees be paid, and big penalties if you don't do it well. And this can result in a lot of pressures, good and bad. So how the contracts are designed can have a huge bearing on how work is done or not done. Obviously the concerns and needs of the regulators needs to be kept in mind constantly. There needs to come in compliance. We don't have an open checkbook. The government is constantly needing to manage its resources, to prioritize.
Locally, I think it works really well. I think the regulators and DOE have a really good working relationship, and really the overwhelming impact on the Hanford cleanup is the federal appropriation, because that really keeps the local DOE from carrying out the milestones in the tri-party agreement according to schedule. And there's not a really good answer to that. It's kind of a classic constitutional dilemma, because ecology really can go to a federal court or a state board and get them to order DOE to do some work. But a court can't order the Congress to appropriate the money to do the work. So it's really kind of a dilemma.
I'd say that there is clearly a lack of uniform perspective on the risks of the various facilities, materials, conditions, and depending on your background, education, experience, etc., you come at this from different perspectives. So there was a lot of reconciliation that needed to be done between the promises established under this tri-party agreement, these commitments, in reality. And a lot of parties involved. So, therein comes one of, in my mind, the biggest challenges of dealing with nuclear waste at a place like Hanford. And it comes down to communications and alignment.
According to the Tri-City Herald, on January 9, 2019, a new DOE estimate of the cost for remaining environmental cleanup at Hanford was $242 billion, an increase of $82 billion. Hanford is a very complex and expensive long-term challenge indeed.